Yep. Yep. It's working now.
Yeah.
It's
Okay, then
working.
I'll record as well. Let's see, record. So then we can both record this and sort of just see how it goes.
Right,
And then
and I can just give it a try to edit, like how it goes, and
oh sure, that's
maybe
lovely. I
we
was
can
thinking,
share next
yeah, we
time
can
we
do
see.
that, or otherwise what we can do is we can record a second one when you come back from holiday.
Yep.
And then see if we want to do anything. So basically it's just a test. It's quite informal. And we'll see where the conversation goes, and we'll see what we want to talk about basically. And yeah, and I was thinking next time I should prepare an introduction, an official introduction for you, so that it can be a bit more like I'll introduce myself, I'll introduce you, because yeah, so this has been all very makeshift improvised. So let's see, how shall we do one with it? Do you want to introduce yourself?
Okay, sure. So
let's do that.
Yeah, and so shall I introduce myself around improvisation or myself?
Sure. How about I'll just ask you questions.
Yes.
I'll just ask you questions and we'll use that. So Hikaru, your full name is Hikaru Luhier, or
Hikaru here. Yes.
Yeah, okay, fantastic. And yeah, so how did you come to improv or improvisation theater?
Okay, so I didn't know improv until 2012, and no, it wasn't true. Hold on a second. No. No. I didn't know improv until 2002. So I've been doing improv for a long time. So around that time, I was a corporate trainer. So I joined working for IBM in 1998, and then I was in the marketing. You're right.
Sorry, I'm coughing.
Okay. It's really fun. It's
oh goodness, excuse me.
Yeah.
So you became a corporate trainer.
Maybe what we can do is like I can help you to imaginate more of your program, or like my program, or like my session with improviser Naomi. It's like we have 3 sections. So introducing improvisation. So that's the chapter 1, and chapter 2 is like introducing ourselves.
That makes sense.
And then after that, like we are introducing the effectiveness, or like, so what works for the world or for the corporate trainings and stuff like that. And then we also introduce what is applied improvisation versus improvisation.
Right.
So what's the difference in between those?
Gotcha.
And
I'm taking notes.
Yeah, and then like we are just watching a show, and then we do some like sub audio the show. So we say, oh, it's working really well, or what are you feeling, or what are you thinking about on the stage?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So how about for today, we leave out all the introductions and we just skip straight to the conversation I'm curious about.
Yep.
Because I'm really interested to see how this sort of conversation would work. And I guess we already spoke about this a little bit in our previous conversations about the interesting nuances when in Japanese, when we look at yes and, the improvisational principle yes and yeah, I guess I would have to introduce the principle of yes and, introduce yes and, yes and as a concept, and say, you know, in English, I would sort of very shortly describe it as accept and build, meaning accepting someone else's idea and then building on that idea is how that would go in improv on stage.
Right.
And now I'm very curious about how does yes and translate into Japanese? So when you teach improv in Japanese, what words do you use to say yes and?
Okay, so when I introduce yes and to a Japanese people or Japanese communities, I use yes and. Yeah, because like yes, literally in Japanese means hi. It's
Hi.
like hi, but I think it means more than that. Hi
Okay.
is just a reply of hi, yes, no, hi, yeah. And I don't feel like it's the total meaning of yes. It's more deeply like because as we were talking about, Japanese is a really conceptual, like context wise, really
Contextual.
contextual word. So like there are lots of meaning in between the lines.
Interesting.
Yes. So like that's why I didn't want to translate yes and into Japanese, because it has a lot of meaning. That's why I just
see.
wanted to use yes and as a mindset or concept, or like ground rules, or the like key to that, to be a happiness, or to be a happy life, to have a happy
Interesting.
life and stuff. Yes.
So then you use yes and do in English. And do you find that most people immediately understand what you mean, or do you have to, how do you explain this, these English words then to Japanese speakers in a Japanese context?
Right. So when I explain about yes and, so I don't start using yes and at the very, very beginning, but we do some exercise, like ice breaking, kind of energizing kind of things.
Okay.
Like for example, like when I have a lots of like presentation skills techniques course, and at the beginning we have a birthday chain. So
Bus station.
yeah, birthday chain. So I go like, okay, here is the starting point. So you make a circle, a circle by your birthday.
Oh, a birthday chain. Okay, now I get it. Yeah, okay, a birthday chain.
Yeah,
interesting. So you make a circle, okay?
Right. So it works if you have more than 20 students.
Okay.
Because you have 12 months.
Yeah.
So you want to have at least 1, 2, or 3 people in 1 month, right?
I see, yeah.
Right. So then like you make a group. Okay, so from you to you, then that's January, and then you to you from February. So you make a group. And then I ask them to make a presentation. Okay, so make a 30 seconds presentation to make other people to feel like when I reborn or in my next life, I wanna born in that month.
Ah, right. I see. Okay, so in my next life, I want to be born in a different month.
Yeah.
Or in this month, in our month.
Yeah. In
convince
the
other
month
people
you are presenting, right? So that's why, like, yeah. So they will have to make a presentation. They will have to make a presentation like that.
That sounds awesome. I would have to convince you or show you how awesome it is to be born in the month of August.
Exactly. Convince or like persuade or something like that. So
I see. Or just make it really sound good.
Yeah. So it's more like a persuasive, like, a presentation. Then, so I give them only like 3 minutes to make a 30 seconds presentation. And after 3 minutes, I go like, okay, so which month do like want to present? And they don't want to go, but I go like, okay. Then they go like, so if you don't go, first, you don't want to be the last one, blah, blah, blah. Then they go like, maybe we'll go first.
Okay.
So like, one month goes to make a presentation for 30 seconds. Then I go like, okay, which month wants to go next? And then next, like other months, raise their hands, and then we'll go first. We'll go next. Then I go like, okay, before you go to a presentation, you have to do yes and. And they go like, what? So I say, okay, you were listening to the previous presentation. Then you want to make a presentation. So, but you don't want to go right away. You are listening to it. That's why you can summarize the presentation of the previous presentation within 10 seconds. Then it's like, and put your presentation afterward.
Oh, I see. So you get them to listen first.
Listen first. And summarize the presentation of the previous one, add to it, and then like make their own presentation. So they have 40 seconds instead of 30 seconds.
I see.
And after that, they like, okay, which one wants to go next? Then other, months go like wants to go first, wants to go next. And I go like, okay, you wanna go to the first one, you wanna summarize the first one and the second one, and then you go next. So you now have 50 seconds. It
gets harder and harder.
So yes. Then after that, they go like, oh, me. But yeah, this is the point that like, so I'm introducing them about what is yes and. Is like, yes means you have to listen really carefully to be able to summarize the previous story. And that's like not only summarize, but you have to accept and then find the thing they wanted to say, find the keyword they wanted to say, then accept it, and then you want to add your story to it. So then like I don't really have to explain yes and anymore, but they understand yes and immediately.
And do you find that it's an easy concept to understand in life, how it fits into life? Or do you have to make more of an explicit transition to life skills after that?
Well, I think at the beginning, I was also misunderstanding about yes and. I was more putting more importance on yes. That's why I thought, oh, I have to accept everything. See what I mean? Yeah. But then I thought, oh, there are things that you don't want to, you don't want to accept. Well, you can't accept. Then I found out that, oh, there are things that I can't accept, or I don't want to accept. And I have to accept myself feeling that I don't want to accept that, or I can't accept that.
Interesting. Yep.
Yeah. So
it's very meta.
Yes. So that was the transition for me.
And do you find that in, say, Japanese work culture, is there a weight towards yes, or maybe to no, or maybe? What is a go-to thing to say? Presumably it's different with the boss or with the colleagues or with the family. I guess there are differences. What would you say is something that you observe over and over again when people first come to your improv classes?
When the people come to my improv class, then they find it so open and so they kind of feel like, oh, I had to put myself into a box at work or even in a family and stuff. So when they come to my workshop, they go like, oh, I feel so open now. I feel so free now. So some people kind of addict to come to my workshop because everything is allowed to say or to do.
I see.
But and at the beginning, I thought it was so important. But after that, like in the real life, like I think it's also important that there are things that you cannot accept, as I said.
Yeah.
And I think there are more. Like I think as maybe or Japan is like to be known as the nationality that we cannot say no.
I see, yeah.
Right? But well, it's not really true, because I think Japanese people, when you ask Japanese people that are you religious? And then a lot of Japanese people, including myself, say, oh, I have no religion.
I see. Okay.
But we believe in everything. That's called Shinra Bansho. For example, there is a word, and this is, I think, international word, say mottainai. Have you ever heard of mottainai? There was,
No.
I forgot, I think there was a story that mottainai is well known by worldwide. And mottainai means if there is no waste.
There is no waste. Okay.
No. So whatever you have, like maybe you have a leftover of the food, then you see it and then you say, oh, mottainai. So you wanna give it to somebody, or you wanna keep it in a refrigerator to eat next morning. So mottainai is like there is no leftover, there's no waste, and
you use everything.
Yes, we use everything. That's why we want to keep everything that there is no disposable thing.
Interesting. I wonder, how does that influence your improv? Because in improvisation, we also say use everything.
Right.
Use everything that's there.
Everything.
Notice more, use everything. Yeah, how does that influence the improvisation in Japan?
Yeah, well, that's, yes, well, when I learn more and more about improvisation, I kind of felt like, improvisation is so close to our culture. Like, I thought even that maybe Japanese people found out or invested in improvisation or yes and or.
Well, speaking of, there is a tradition in Japanese theater that is improvised. Can you speak a bit about that?
That's Zeami or
Sure, whatever you know about. I'm curious.
Well, I think I have to learn more about it. So maybe that's for the next session, but
Next session. Okay. Japanese, traditional Japanese
traditional
improv.
Japanese, right? Theater.
Yeah.
But like, so Japanese culture is based on acceptance and appreciation. So Shinda Bansho, as I said, that is also based on appreciation. So that's, and a lot of Japanese word is coming from appreciation. Like, for example, like when you eat, before you eat, you say itadakimasu. And like, even like some Japanese people don't know about this meaning, but itadakimasu means deeply appreciation to the farmer, to the earth, to everything that we eat. So itadaku means we are given. But yes, and then like yes, and is also give and given. That's what I thought. Yeah,
it's a lot about giving. Yeah.
yes.
It's fascinating how that fits so well. And you mentioned that it's also part of Japanese culture, or a Japanese culture is known that you cannot say no to other people's requests or to other people's suggestions. Like, it sounds like you can say no to descriptions of yourself, like, are you religious? Not necessarily.
Right.
But when it comes to maybe a request that a boss might make of an employee, or that a family member might make, it gets more complicated. How do you find that influences people's ability in improvisation theater when they take on roles, to say no in their role? Is that difficult? Is that a hurdle for you to teach?
Right. Well, I think I wanted to say something about the religion, because
Sure, go ahead.
Because Japanese people, I think, don't even like unconsciously believe in reincarnation. That's why we don't want to say no. So which means, like, for example, like, you say, oh, hey Carol, are you free tomorrow? Would you like to go to a picnic or something? Then I would love to. So for picnic, I love it. So for example, are there anything I don't really want to do? Can you come up any idea of which I don't really want to do?
Okay, things you would not want to do. Clean my entire house.
Okay. Oh, because I'm an improviser.
We have a dirty basement.
Oh, then maybe I would say, oh, I would love to, but I have something to do tomorrow. But like, I will make some time when I can come and visit you in Netherlands, or in
Netherlands. Yeah,
you live in Netherlands now. Yeah. So
okay, so you would say, yes, but
yes, yeah, but so which is like, I don't wanna reject the relationship in between us.
Yeah.
So we wanna keep the relationship, but I don't wanna do that.
No.
That's why I don't wanna just reject the invitation, but I say yes, but. So see what I mean? So
yeah.
I would love to keep the relationship, but I cannot make it.
Yeah.
So please understand. but I love you.
Right. That's sort of the, but I love you
Yeah.
right at the end.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And you run intercultural groups, intercultural conversation groups.
Mhm.
Do you find that this comes up in the exchanges around the other? Now you're coughing. Do you find that sort of the differences in say, for example, in Germany, a German person would just say no, I don't want to.
Mm.
Yeah, what have you noticed?
Yeah, and so like back to your question and to this one as well. Like at home, like when you have a healthy relationship with the families,
Mhm.
we can say no to each other.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not like top down anymore. A little back, like
Mhm.
maybe my parents' age or older, maybe they couldn't say no to the parents, but not anymore. But
Interesting.
in the
So there's a
workspace,
shift happening.
yeah, the shift happening. But then in the workplace, or this is also unconscious bias
Hmm.
or unconscious top down.
Yeah.
So when the boss say something, then you don't have a right to say no.
No. And I've heard from the little bits that I've heard about, for example, the salaryman culture.
Salaryman culture.
Yeah, there is a very strong need to please and to say yes and to accept and to do as told.
Right.
Um,
From the boss or from the customers, and they would,
mhm.
they would say, they wouldn't be able to say no.
And what's your experience then teaching improvisation skills for business?
For
Um,
business,
in if you have worked with businesses
mhm,
where that
mhm.
sort of structural hierarchy is present.
Mm. Um, well, actually, it's kind of changing. Like as
Mhm.
I introduced myself, that I've started improvisation in 2002, and
Mhm.
around that time, I saw, oh, this is a brilliant um, tool. That's what I thought as improvisation as a tool. So I thought if I introduce this to a business world, then people will, feel happier and are more open and free.
Mm.
But so I proposed to my boss that I want to use improvisation, because around that time I was a corporate trainer.
I
So
see.
I introduced and then proposed to my boss that I want to use improvisation in my
Mhm.
workshop. But they say, "Oh, no, it's not our style."
Mm.
Yeah, it was a very big IT company. It is still, but so so they said no. But after 10 years, so I stayed in that company for a while I was introducing improvisation outside on the weekends as
Mm.
my project. And after 4 years, I decided to independent,
Mhm.
incorporate my own company and then independent from the company.
Mm.
And after 10 years or something, so it was around 2010, 11, something like that. My boss came to me and asked me that, would you tell me more about what you do? So
Interesting. So they came
mm,
back.
yeah, they came back. So
Mhm.
and
Do you think that might be due to the increasing globalization and the increasing mix of where people are working? And
Yes, 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 including those as well as Buddha.
Ah, I see. Okay,
Yeah.
so the principle of the world being volatile, uncertain, was it changing and
And ambiguous or
ambiguous? Yes,
mm,
I see. Okay, so and improv sort of fits very neatly with that.
very neatly. Yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
So the question that sort of just arises in me, and see if you can do anything with it. It's just, what does yes and mean to you personally? Like, how has it affected your life?
Well, saving my life. Yes, and really it's saving my life,
Mm,
saving uh to be a better person,
mm,
really. Yeah, so around that time, so I told you that I met Jim Bro in 2002.
mhm.
So in 2000, there was a really terrible thing happened in the world, in the United States, right?
Yeah,
And
2001, I
yeah,
believe.
2001, yeah. And around that time, like, and I thought, oh my God, it's why it's happening like that.
Mm,
So like eye to eye, and then so I thought, are there anything that I can do to save the world? And then I I bumped into improv, and I thought, oh, improv can change the world or save the world.
mhm.
So that's one of the reasons why I thought, oh, I want to use this as a tool to help the world.
And what
And
specifically about improvisation do you believe is it that makes it so important,
um, uh,
to or to have those what qualities of improvisation might save the world?
mm, well, acceptance and appreciation.
Mhm.
So whatever happens, it's happening, or it
Mm,
happened. So you cannot deny. You have
no.
to accept it. And
It's
then
also
if
very close to Zen
exactly,
culture.
it's
Mhm.
yes, it's really close to Zen. So like when it's happening, it's happening. So you have to accept it. And then if you accept it, then if you feel appreciation to it, then
Mhm.
like something will come up to it.
Mm,
So you yeah, that's why like if you deny it or if you get angry about it, then your face is always kind of like difficult or yeah,
mhm.
hard, and then you go like why, right? But instead of that, like you just let it go and
Mm.
let it come.
And obviously, with a big event like with the towers in 2001, that's not easy.
It was not easy, no.
It's not easy to. It takes a lot of time, I would
Mm-hmm.
say, to
Mm-hmm.
be able to get to a state of acceptance,
Exactly.
especially if people have their families involved.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well,
Mm,
one of the reasons why I thought the improvisation on the yes and can save the world is that I watched the news, and as you said, the family who was in that building like was show in that stone from the building, saying like, okay, this is the stone that my father was working in that building.
mm,
But then they accept the situation, and
mm.
then they were still um, hoping not to have the war,
Yeah.
because around that time, like and the U.S. Army was like attacking the Iraq, and they were hoping and they were asking to stop the war. And I
Mm,
was going like, if I was the family of the of the victim of
mm,
the building, I couldn't eat actually.
mm.
I when I couldn't eat for a month or two, so I lost a lot of weight, and I was going like, oh my God, like no, what this world is going to, or where are we going to? But then when I saw this news, I was going like, this is wonderful, and this is yes and.
Hmm.
That's why I thought, oh, yes and is so powerful to.
Interesting. Yeah.
Mm,
Oof, we've gone to quite a deep,
mm,
deeply deep processing. um, yeah, to learning to accept the difficulties and the challenges, and to still build on what's happening rather than stagnating or retaliating is,
mhm,
yes, very religious in many ways,
mm,
in many
mm.
different religions. I think we can find principles around acceptance rather than pushing back. And
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
that's fascinating. And if you when you work a lot internationally,
Mm,
and you work a lot with native English speaking trainers as well, what's something that you would share with them? Let's say native English speakers come to Japan and have been invited to teach
mhm,
improvisation, applied improvisation, whatever it might be, do training in Japanese business, education system, wherever it might be.
mm.
What do you think would be important to know ahead of time, um, before just sort of going in and doing? If I were to come, before I just went and did my thing, what would be important for me to know? The sort of nuance of culture. What sort of advice would you give me? Obviously, I can't plan
Well,
ahead completely, but what would be your advice?
okay, okay. I think, Japanese people are so nice and helpful. So when you are on the street, like, looking really puzzled, then somebody will come up to you and asks you, like, would you, like, do you need any help and stuff?
Mhm,
And then if you say, oh, I want to go, blah, 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 then this person may, take you to the
mhm,
place where you wanted to go when they have
mhm.
time. So,
Wow.
like,
Mm,
like I've heard that kind of examples over
mhm,
and over and from everywhere. And but on the other hand, a lot of Japanese still cannot speak English.
interesting.
And wherever you go, you may not be able to see signs in English,
Mhm,
only
mhm,
in Japanese.
mm,
So before you come to Japan, you may wanna be able to read a little bit, or
mhm,
you may just wanna be able to ask questions, like, simple, basic questions, like,
mhm. Who, what,
where,
where?
like, yes, yes, yes. Mm.
Sorry, I
But
interrupted you.
but well, we have a certain amount of educations, like, for English. For example, like, when, like, nowadays, from primary school, or when you go to a junior high school for 3 years, you learn English, and then
I see.
3 years in high school. So altogether, at least 6 years.
Mm,
But basically, we still learn about how to read, how to make the correct grammars, and how to write and stuff. So we don't learn much about how to make a communication, or so how to
So,
listen much. And
so for training in Japanese organizations, would you suggest have a translator
well, yeah, yeah, I would
or work with
suggest.
someone local?
Yeah, I would
Mm,
suggest to have a translator, or to have somebody, like, working in a local place,
mm.
yeah.
Yeah, or
Mm.
work with you. Get you to
Yes,
do the job.
yes, yes, Give me a job.
Exactly.
Right,
And
right.
what would you like to, what is something that you think when you come, for example, to our AIN International Conference, for example, because you already mentioned the acceptance and appreciation of Japanese culture. How do you think we can enrich yes and as a concept also in English when we look at the Japanese view of yes and in acceptance and appreciation?
Well, as you mentioned, I would really like recommend to do Zen or meditation, like because it helps
This
to
is on my desk.
yay. That's wonderful. Yeah, so that helps a lot to control your emotions or control yourself or calm you down, and that's a lot of good practice of yeah sympathize yourself or to talk to yourself deep inside. And
And
so
listen.
yes, to listen to yourself. Yeah.
I like specifically about this because it says beginner's mind. And I feel like that is so much what we teach in improv. Do you want to speak to that?
Well, I want to hear from you.
Oh, sure. Yeah, well, it's interesting. I'm sort of speeding through it at the moment, and because I quite like having a general overview, and then I'm going to go back and read it chapter by chapter. But I really do find that there's so much like of what you just said, and the overlap with improvisation, and especially the title beginner's mind, where I feel like one of the things we teach in improv is to listen out and to listen to ourselves and the others as if we were a beginner and we're just sort of, we're not yet judging, or we're not yet attaching our own thoughts to what's happening and being said, but to really listen out to everything that is happening. And then obviously in a theater improv performance, we would then attach value, or we would attach ideas or emotions to that. But I think especially in the applied improvisation, we first teach sort of, okay, any expertise you might have about what's currently happening, leave that aside for a moment and just listen. And really just listen. Like you said at the beginning, you get people to just listen and repeat. Listen and summarize.
Right.
Listen to the previous presentation, summarize, then add your own. And none of that yet has any judgment or has any it doesn't have any judgment attached to it. You don't need to say whether you agree or disagree. You're just listening, repeating, and then giving your own part. So I think that very much fits with the beginner's mind.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And that comes to my mind that listen in Japanese, kiku is
Kiku?
listening, to listen, but when we say kiku, like there are so many let me just write it down.
As you were just saying that, I thought, you know what we need to do in the editing for these videos? I need to make a little a sidebar with the words, the spelling, and the and in this case with the
kanji character.
Yes, kanji characters.
Right. Can I use the whiteboard?
Oh yes, of course. Let me see how I can. You should be able to share your screen now. Does that work for you?
Yeah, it's working now. Okay.
Yeah, this also works really well. We can then just use the whiteboard to do some writing.
Exactly. So what I'm going to show you now is
Okay, I'm super curious. Does the drawing function here have predictive text?
Okay. So, 聞く is
I
like,
can't actually see anything yet.
oh, there you go.
Nothing's really
Hold on.
appeared on my whiteboard.
There you go. Is it working now?
Ah, there it is. Okay.
You can hear.
Interesting.
Right. But then we have so many kanjis for it. For
Mhm.
example, this so so this is ear. This
Mhm.
is ear. And then this part, it's not there. This part,
Yeah.
this
The
part is
the
a
frame
gate.
around it
Right.
is
This
called
gate.
gate. Funny, you know what? In my head, I was like, I remember from Chinese class when I was in secondary school, I had like half a year of Chinese lessons, and I thought that means door in the Chinese sign.
Yes.
So it's
yes.
gate in that's fantastic. Okay. I remembered something.
Great. That's wonderful. And this means ear. So
Ear. Oh, door.
yeah.
The gate.
Yeah. Right.
That's
So,
awesome.
like open up your ear to listen everything.
Yeah.
But now this is more like hear instead of listen.
Okay, hearing instead of listening. Interesting. Okay.
Right. So this is also ear. Now this means 10. And then this means eye. And this means heart.
Mm-hmm.
So this means like this is ear again.
Mm-hmm.
This means 10 is like 10 or 100% kind of stuff, right?
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. But 10 is the max.
Gotcha.
And this is eye.
Mm-hmm.
And this is heart.
Heart.
So this means like if you want to listen, not only using ear, but also using eyes and your heart, 100%.
Nice.
Isn't it nice?
That's beautiful. We need to definitely have another conversation, because I really feel like there's so much more in this. And I also just noticed when I lean forward, my camera is a bit more HD.
Right.
I would love to continue this conversation because I think it's super interesting and valuable. And maybe we can later just cut different pieces out from,
I think so.
you know,
I think so.
So rather than
about 10
uploading it
minutes
as a whole
or...
thing,
Exactly.
we can maybe do it in pieces, at least because it's not really professionally done yet, right? Like it's just sort of improvising with what we've got, and totally unprepared, I must admit. Yeah, I'm finding this super fascinating, and I love the idea of using the whiteboard for the character descriptions and the words. And I can ask my partner Alex. He studied video editing, so he can also help us with making some. You know, he might find it fun
to have some subtitle, or
For example, he does. I'm not sure if how he would do subtitles, but we could ask him. We can do subtitles through YouTube, maybe better. But we should definitely think about this, because this conversation has been so rich and insightful.
Yeah.
I'm learning so much about Japanese, but about improv, about understanding meditation better.
Yeah, well, for me too, like, because you asked me, like, lots of, like, wonderful questions, then I go like, oh, that's right, that's why, like, what, so I can just keep talking.
Yeah, exactly. I noticed that, right? It's like, oh yeah, as we get into this,
Right,
we both connect with, this is why I love the work.
right, that's right, that's right.
This is
Yeah,
wonderful. Yeah, I'm
so
so glad you were willing to be part of this
I
experiment.
would love to, I would love to, I would love
Mm.
to. So
I've also made a decision to change my business name. It's not quite, I need to buy the domain name and everything, but I'm going to be not using the thing I showed you before. I'm going to build something else. And it's then going to be part of the blog series for that and the video series. So the project of Yes and Conversations will stay the same. Just the frame where I'm going to put it is going to be a bit different. So it might take a while before I get to putting this online.
don't worry, don't worry.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. But
Yeah,
you've also got it.
Take your time. Yeah, yeah.
I'm glad you recorded.
Right. Yeah, I have my recording as well, so don't worry.
And yeah, how would you say, so I'm just kind of curious now, as a participant being asked all of these questions, how has that been for you?
Well, it was really, really, really interesting. Like because these are the things that I wanted to introduce to the world. For example, like the Japanese cultures, like I don't like to be said that Japanese people cannot say no,
Right.
but
Yeah.
because it's not true.
No.
Yeah. So deep inside, like, we just we are hoping to be connected. Yeah.
I think that's a very important point, is that you don't want to reinforce the stereotype, right? You don't.
Exactly. Yeah. On the other hand, still, that's also true. On the other hand, yeah, Japanese people really cannot say no.
It's a koan.
Exactly.
You've made a Zen koan.
It's really true. But I am kind of hoping that yeah, like, because Japanese people I wanted to say something else, because Japanese also believe in we are not separated. Like, for example, like, you and me, we were talking, and then I couldn't really divide it into, oh, okay, that's your part, my part. It's more like we had the same brain together.
A non-dualism, non-dual.
Exactly. And improvisation, for example, like, when you do one word at a time, I always use one word at a time. You are in one person, and you are sharing your brain.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Oh, we need to talk about this so much more. There's so much richness in this. And I've been talking to my partner about this as well recently, about the I think I misunderstood dualism and non-dualism for quite a while. And I'm getting a different understanding of it now, also through my Qigong practice and Tai Chi practice. And sort of the principle of there are two sides to a coin, but it wouldn't be a coin if it wasn't those two sides. Like the two sides are the coin. That is what makes the coin the coin.
Exactly.
Right. So in a sense they're separate, but they're also the same.
Exactly. Like, it's like a universe.
Yeah.
So, like, when I love to discuss about the word, like
Mm.
introducing, for example, like I teach presentation. So when
Mhm.
I teach presentation to the students, I always use, okay, presentation is a present. That's why
Fantastic.
yeah, when you give a presentation, you are given a present. That's why like you have to watch the audience. You have to know what
Mm.
the audience want. So
Yeah.
you are given a present which the audience love to receive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So universe is also like a universe. It's like a uni is one. So verse is like flip, like front and back. So
Mm.
universe is like and Japanese people also believe in universe is inside of you.
I see.
Yeah, you
Mm.
are one universe kind of stuff. Yeah, so I
Yeah,
think
you
it's
are the
also in a Zen.
yeah
Yeah.
is we everything we do is Zen,
Mm.
and at the same time it's not Zen, right? Like it's
No,
the
exactly.
we are the Buddha, but we want to
We're
become
not.
like a Buddha, but we are Buddha nature. Like it's yeah,
Right. That's right.
it's we might need to come up with some improv koans
Yes.
like the one you said earlier. Yeah, the one you said earlier. I feel like about Japanese people can't say no, but that's not true.
Right.
But it is true,
It is
right?
true.
Like,
Right.
but it's not. It's yeah. So it's there. I think sometimes I guess it's embracing the possibility that multiple things can be true at the same time. There are multiple truths, and yet there is only one truth.
Right.
Like,
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Multiple truths and one truth and
yeah.
Mm.
Oh, this is so enriching. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, arigato.
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 Yeah, arigato.
How is the pronunciation? Arigato.
Arigato. Well, I also have a dialect. So
Where's your dialect from?
From Osaka.
From Osaka. Okay. Is
From
that very
Osaka.
obvious in
Very
Japan?
obvious.
Is it obvious?
Very obvious.
Interesting.
Especially Osaka dialect is so obvious.
Oh, really? Uh-huh.
Osaka is a place where comedian, like look, like you, a lot of comedians are born. So when you speak Osaka dialect, you are going like, oh, you sound like comedian.
So how about this? When at the end of August or in early September sometime, when you've returned from your holiday, and you've settled in again,
coming back earlier.
Oh, you're coming back earlier. Okay, so when I have a bit more of an idea of how to professionally put this together, let's put it that way. Let's have another chat, and I will send you a few things to prepare. So, for example, so we'll base it on this chat. It'll not be the same, but it'll sort of maybe have a few bits of repetition in it. And we'll start with introducing what these conversations are, improvisation, applied improvisation. I'll ask you to introduce yourself, and then we start more with, okay, this is where you're from in Japan. This is your perspective that you're coming from. This is how you came to improv. So sort of starting with more of your personal journey. And then we get into we continue whatever conversation comes up, right? Like we don't have to necessarily repeat, but whatever comes up. And then sort of round it off. I think it might fit quite nicely the idea of like, okay, what if a non-Japanese speaker comes and teaches in Japan, and vice versa? What do you bring into the rest of the world that is not just English speaking but also Spanish and whatever, right? Like it's not just we just happen to be speaking in English because we both speak it.
True.
So
that sounds fantastic.
because I feel like then it's also a learning opportunity for other trainers and coaches, and
Exactly.
yeah, for anyone who wants to explore it further to have a think about, okay, like my hope is to sort of go to say to people, like, we can't assume that yes and means the same for everyone. And every one of us has a different interpretation of what it means to yes and.
Exactly. That, and then I think that's natural, because like I don't wanna be the, like, the king of like, improv, applied improv. Like like, I always say, oh, this is my interruption, like, interruption,
Interpretation,
interpretation that like, so some people, like, interrupt differently, and then that's what I have to accept, and that's what I have, what I am really interested and then curious about, how other people
interpret.
Interrupt.
Interrupting is something
Something different. Interruption.
Yeah, absolutely. And me too, right? So, and I think we can communicate so much better with each other when we start to understand, oh, this is your interpretation, this is my interpretation, right? It's
exactly, because I don't want to push people to understand that, so I have to allow. It's not the improvisation world. It's not based on yes and. So if,
well, and that's why I'm thinking it would be nice, like, I want to do this, like, I guess I want to eventually have one conversation a week or something, or every 2 weeks with people, with different people. So also then some other Japanese speaking improvisers, so that there's always more than one from each country eventually.
Exactly.
Because people from, it doesn't mean every Japanese person is going to interpret it the same way either. So I think it will be really nice to have this sort of ongoing, maybe every 2 weeks or whatever I can eventually do, because it'll take a lot of video editing.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. So yeah, and then even if, like, you do, like, take the recording, like, for 1 hour, and then maybe you want to divide it into 4 or 10 minutes to 15 minutes, then, like, you can just edit it and then post it and edit it and post it. So it takes a while, and
but I think that would be a really, really fun series, and I think it would give a lot, because I don't see many podcasts that look at specifically the interpretation and the language.
No, I don't think so. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so, and I'll be happy to like, put the subtitle on it as well.
Oh, that would be so wonderful. Yeah, that would be fantastic.
And I would also want to put the video into the AI IFA homepage. So
that'd be great. That'd be fantastic. So yeah, let's see what we both want to keep from this and what we want to take forward. And I'm gonna make, I think while I was sort of here chatting with you, I'm gonna make a form of, like, that I can send to everyone who's going to be part of this, and be like, okay, here are some points that we're going to be chatting about. Please prepare these things, and maybe send me a kind of like with the AINX talks, right? Like, send me a biography, send me something that I can introduce you with.
I wanted to use some slides, and I wanted to use some maybe you can ask some pictures.
Slides, pictures, that's nice.
So
a screen share.
Screen share. Like, did I I think I showed you before about, let's talk about improv with
you
Naomi.
did show me. So that's a good idea. I'm also going to iron this. It's got creases.
Don't worry, don't worry. Yeah, so instead of that, like you can also like have some virtual background.
Oh, I'll show you what happens when I do a virtual background. Because the lighting here is not very good, I need to get a professional lighting setup.
Oh,
So
it's not
it kind
bad.
of gets it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay now. It was worse
okay.
earlier.
Yeah.
But it sort of flashes.
When you have the blue one and then your face, it looks a little bluer.
It's a bit cold, but I can put a different obviously
you can
put a different background.
one, different
There we go.
background. Like,
I'll upload one.
yeah, for example, this is mine.
Oh yeah. Oh, your iPhone is the wrong way around for me.
Yes. I have to go this way.
Nope, still
it's
mirrored.
Oh, okay. So I have to change it. I have also this one.
Oh, you make the world a better place. Oh, that's cute. Yeah, so for example, we could start with that. You could have that as your background. Ta-da! Yeah, that's beautiful. It's very nice. Yeah, I'm glad. I wanted to see if this works, and it does work. I think it works very well. So yeah, and it works as a conversation to have, I think, as well. So oops, let's turn my video off. There, I'm back. I was going to turn off my virtual background. There we go. I love your background, by the way, and the sun on your chair. It's so beautiful.
You remember this? It's growing.
Yeah, your plant.
It's so growing.
It's really grown. Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you again.
Oh, thank you so much. So
and have a wonderful holiday.
Yeah, and well, you too. Well, let me know if there's anything that I can help. And thank you so much for encouraging me to propose for the AI in the conference.
Did you do it?
I did.
Oh, nice. I'm glad. I look forward to your session.
yeah, that's right. So I have to propose to the AI and watch party team. What I propose.
Yeah, do it. Do it. Sounds like a good idea. Well, I hope also you have a lovely holiday. So take some time off.
Thank you. So I'll
get some rest
you at the end of August or the beginning of September.
Yeah, we'll reconnect. I'll send you an email, and if you're still on a holiday, don't worry about it. Just reply when you get back.
Don't worry. Yeah, I'll be working.
Oh, yeah, but reply later. Take it easy.
Right. Thank you. So have a great summer.
Bye-bye.
Bye.